Morning once again, everybody. Happy January 12th on another beautiful Monday. Myself and Neil as well. Neil, hope you had a great weekend as we just discussed. A lot of football we watched, obviously, which is good. Good stuff. Nice to see the Eagles are out, obviously, for you, Mr. Neil.
Can't complain about that.
Can't complain about it. Absolutely. For myself being in Seattle, it was very stressful because the Packers couldn't get it done, and then the Niners escaped Philly, so that'll be the big matchup there on Saturday. But yeah, and then we also saw a bit of hockey here the last couple of days as well. Boy, this is going to be an interesting, probably the next 3 weeks, 3 weeks coming up here. It's going to be fascinating, obviously, with the Olympic break coming up, and the trade freeze that will happen before the Olympics here. I do have a clip to play from Elliot Freeman that talks about the Flames. He was on it this morning, so I think that's going to play a lot of vital information here as we get into very closer to that Olympic break freeze. And we're going to see a lot more trades maybe ramp up. But God, how long? Like, I think before we start, I mean, the rumor mill has just been going on for the last year and a half now, and it's at this point it's getting tiring to talk about. And at some point, we just need somebody to pull the trigger here.
Yeah, I think the issue this year more than any is that this is probably the biggest sellers market I think that we have seen in quite some time, and
more than last year. Holy crap!
Well, yeah, and I think that it really is going to come down to, like you said, who's going to be that first team to make a move, and we've seen like a couple of moves here that we saw San Jose.
Quinn Hughes set the market. Quinn Hughes set
the market, and I think it set everybody back a lot. I think because it was just like, now you know what the expectation is. We saw San Jose make a trade with I'm trying to remember who they made a trade with, but they got Laurent Brossoit. Kind of interesting.
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. So there's that, but that's like a minor trade. That's like both teams trying to get to the cap floor. Honestly, that was really more just like what we were looking at. But
you bet.
The one thing I just want to say really quickly is a little bit non sequitur is, like, just before we jumped on, I just saw a video talk about the Olympics. Just saw a video that as of Friday, this past week, they just started building the locker rooms in the arena. And I'm
Neil, man, I don't think they're going to go.
Coyotes vibes again. Like, remember at the arena they played it at the end there, the college arena, Arizona State, and like you saw the visitors' locker room. Yep. It looks like that. It gives me that same kind of vibe.
Didn't they find a hole in the ice already?
They tested it. They played a game there,
and
it got delayed before it even started because of a massive hole in the ice.
I mean, the dressing room. Like, I saw the pictures of the dressing room, and I'm like, oh my God, this looks like my dad's basement. Like, it's just incomplete. It's incomplete. You got like pipes everywhere. Like, it looks completely dysfunctional. And you go, you have like 3 weeks here, right? Before we got to get going. But think about it. It can't just be the dressing room.
No.
There's other shit definitely not done. If you haven't gotten that, like the way that it looks, and there's 100% other things that you clearly haven't gotten done yet. Man, I've been barking it, I think, since we kind of found out, what was that, a few short months ago, that we weren't sure the arena was going to be ready in time. I don't know if the players are going to go. I don't know if Bettman's going to allow them to go. Because think about it. Like, they tested it. They already found there was, like, come on. There's a hole in the ice, for God's sakes. Yeah. Like, how, like, that can't, like, that's just, it's undescribable how that can't happen. And as a owner, like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable sending my product over there. It's a mess. I don't know if they're going to go.
You don't think Craig Conroy's worried about, Rasmus going over there right now and playing?
Well, we're going to get into that, actually. Sure. Because if he's gone before then, who gives a shit?
Well, that was the big thing. I think, I think I heard something like, if you just get him off you get him off the team. I say that like so aggressively. You get him off, like you trade him, like then it doesn't matter. Obviously, it doesn't matter to Craig Conroy. It doesn't matter to the Flames. But if he's still on the Flames by the time the Olympics start, then you start to, Then
there's worry. So there's only 2 current Flames players that are going to be on the Olympics if it happens at this point with the arena.
If it happens.
And playing for Team Sweden, and you're going to have Martin Possible play for Team Slovakia, and that's it. So I guess in a sense, like, you're kind of lucky that that's all you've got going there.
Yeah.
Really hurting anything else, because if something ends up happening over there, there's less of a chance, of one of your players getting hurt. Sure. Okay, so we'll get into that in a bit. Let's talk about what happened on Saturday most recently. So far on this road trip for the Flames, it's been abysmal. They got ransacked by the Canadiens. They got even more ransacked by the Bruins recently. And then all of a sudden they stick Devin Cooley out when they had Dustin Wolf there for those 2 games. And they bring Devin Cooley out here as they take on the Penguins there, as he was sensational. Made 27 saves, ended the Penguins' 6-game winning streak. And again, it's just living up to Devin Cooley's contract extension again. And it goes over to show that it was clearly the right decision to go with Devin Cooley over Provistev, who they signed a 1-year deal for, who's sitting now in the AHL. And Devin Cooley's just been unbelievable so far. So Coronado broke the tie there early in the third period. It was enough, and Devin Cooley backstopped the Flames to a 2-1 win. So again, on a week that was not looking great for the Flames already, it was nice to see that on Saturday, especially the Penguins team that has been on fire. They won 6 in a row here, and they basically kind of shut the door on them. So I really applaud Devin Cooley for his performance there on Saturday. I thought he was again sensational. It's probably been one of the lone bright spots here for the Flames this year in terms of finding some sort of positive message. It was nice to see Connor Zary go down on a breakaway and get an early goal there for Calgary. Then you saw Chinnikov, who was just acquired recently from Columbus to Pittsburgh. He ties it up, and then just a casual, style goal, I guess, from Matt Coronado going down the side and putting one away. It was a good win defensively. Again, it's not surprising that this is the kind of formula that how the Flames are going to win this year is going to look like a low scoring win, and it's a lot of defensive plays, and Devin Cooley was the highlight of that. So your thoughts on the Flames 2-1 win over Pittsburgh on Saturday?
Yeah, it really is interesting how the moment that Devin Cooley comes into the game, like the team just decides that they're just going to play better in front of him and just start. And I think I wonder if it has to do with like a psychological thing where like we know the talent that Dustin Wolf has and his ability to steal games. And I wonder if the Flames' whole structure is just different and their feeling is different when he's back there, that maybe they could take more risks defensively because they know that they have Wolf back there. Whereas with Cooley being more of an unknown, more of a higher risk kind of goaltender, that you have to play better in front of him. Mm-hmm. I see this all the time throughout the league where sometimes it's just, a different vibe when a goaltender or a different one goes in there. And I don't think that this was any different. I have to be honest with you, Kyle. This might sound very controversial. I would really consider moving Devin Cooley at the deadline. I would consider it because of the fact that he's playing this well. And I wonder, and there are going to be teams, believe me, there are going to be teams that will be looking for a goaltender. But the other thing I will say is also, do you really want to give him up when you don't really have a great option after that, especially when Cooley wasn't expected to be the number 2 guy when the season started? And also with Dustin Wolf's struggles, it's like, do you feel that confidence? So I don't know, because again, this comes down to the same thing, Kyle. It is such a seller's market that I think anybody playing even half decent has some value this year.
So I hear you. Ideally, they're not going to do it because his cap hits 1.3. And, I just think in a league where it's sometimes just so hard to find proper goaltending, and frankly, like during the regular season, with the exception of what the hell we saw last year, that's such a rare occurrence where Dustin Wolf basically stood on his head for 60 plus games and, brought them in. During the regular season, you need a 2 goalie tandem. Right? You just need it in order to find one of those helpful ways to get in, right? So I get it. I understand. But I think like you're also missing, for me at least, is that you're trying to build and continue to build the culture here within Calgary, saying that we are rewarding you for good play. And then all of a sudden, oh, sorry, we're actually shipping you out, So it's easier said than done, right? Because you
Sure.
have to still convince guys to sign long term here. You can't piss off Zane Parekh all of a sudden, right? And this is like signing him to a small deal and then shipping him out the door. So I understand the philosophy, but in terms of building something here within the organization, we talk about culture. You need to have some sort of integrity there.
I agree.
So I get it. I get it. Trust me. If I was cold-hearted and I didn't give a shit, then yeah, sure, he'd be out the door and I'd get some assets back. Sure. But at what point do your assets turn into your assets? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
and guys that you want here as a
correct.
part of like the solution, because you can only trade away so many things and like draft because I'll be honest, I think very likely if you trade Cooley, you get draft picks. I don't think you get any player in return. So
we're not even
you're banking on more unknowns. You're banking on, well, you better hope that you draft and develop well with whomever you get.
Yeah.
It was just a thought I was thinking about today because I saw a post on Instagram that was talking about like players who are overperforming expectations, and Devin Cooley was one of them. And I was just looking at his numbers and I said to myself, I wonder what his value is if he were to be made available. But I do agree that I think it's more likely that he'll end up staying. And I think that both parties are very much content with that. And look, none of this matters anyway. We're all going to die, as Cooley put it himself. We're all going to die at some point. So it doesn't really matter what this team does or doesn't do.
You bet. Other note to William Stromgren, they brought up from the Calgary Wranglers, Swedish prospect, made his debut on Saturday. He looked good, man. He looked good. I thought he looked very good. He looked comfortable. I thought he was a solid two-way player. He didn't get a ton of minutes. Had a couple of good chances. I honestly, I thought in terms of NHL debuts, I think he was right up there with Rory Kearns from what we saw last year. I want to see more of that. I love what I saw there from William. And again, I thought it was another good night for Jan Kuznetsov as well, too. He continues to make a name for himself there inside that top six. I'm really proud of what I've seen actually so far from Kuznetsov, from Bruschwitz. I was really happy there with what I saw from Stromgren, and now there's something to look forward to. On the other side of the coin, and what I was kind of reading about from the comments, what came up a lot, frankly, within the past week, and especially in this game, was Jonathan Huberdeau. And he's kind of been a shell of himself here for the better part of the last couple of weeks here. And it's going to be fascinating to see. That's not really a conversation that you can have until probably when the Flames get into their new arena and they see the product on the ice and they see that it's just not working out anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think it will come to a point, and I called this last year, whether it's going to happen or not. That's a contract I can see getting terminated in the near future as well. And they're going to eat the cap hit. And the only good news is that the cap is going up. But again, with all these young players here within a 2-year span, is it going to really hurt them that much here with a lot of these guys potentially signing the entry-level deals? Probably not, right? Yeah. So, any thoughts there on Huberdeau before we kind of move on?
Well, I think first of all, like that shootout attempt he had against Seattle was just piss poor. I mean, it was like
he has no business being in a shootout.
Sure, Grubauer, was ready for it. Trying to go 5-hole, and it didn't seem like much. And I think that Huberdeau is just at the point now where I think he just doesn't have very much confidence in himself.
Sure,
and that's fairly obvious. I do think that there needs to be a conversation given between Conroy and Huberdeau. I would say at the end of the year, because I don't think you can move him. I don't think you will move him.
You can't, because he's under a no trade clause.
Right. So I think you need to have that kind of conversation with him and his agent and go like, where do we stand?
But here's the thing. They don't care. He's earning $10.5 million.
Sure. Yeah.
He goes, you guys gave me this money. I don't care. Right.
No, and I think that that's probably the consensus at this point, that like I think that Huberdeau, understanding where the Flames are at this point, understanding the money that he's making, his attitude probably isn't good. I don't think it's at a point now where it's like, I don't think he genuinely enjoys like he enjoys getting paid $10 million a year.
Sure.
But he doesn't enjoy, obviously, the situation he's in. But this is the situation that he put himself in. He didn't have to sign like long term in Calgary. He didn't have.
I'll push back on that. I think
he
enjoys being with the guys. The group that they've been with here over the last 2 to 3 years, whatever, especially last year with the way it went.
Okay.
He's definitely enjoyed that 1,000%.
And that's fine.
I will agree, though, that I think it could get to a certain point where he's saying, what the hell am I doing here? Right? Because at some point with John, here's the thing. At some point with Jonathan Huberdeau, he's going to look back on his career, right, and realize, all right, cool, you made stupid money here with the Flames, which frankly should have been brought out in the first place because we didn't even see how he played. You made all this money, but haven't moved the needle towards winning a cup at all. The closest you got was getting your ass kicked by the Lightning in round 1 when you were with Florida.
Right.
That was as close as you've gotten, right? So it's I would almost be intrigued. And again, this is far down thinking. I don't think you start these conversations until maybe 2 years down the line, right? Give or take.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'd be curious if you go up to him and go, man, that Montreal team's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Born and raised in Quebec, right?
Yeah.
Pretty nice there. Pretty nice what they're doing.
I'd
be curious to see if he would be willing to open up a modified trade clause 2 years down the line.
He might. And I think we saw rumors about, Jonathan Marchessault, who's also from that area, that it's been reported that I think he would be satisfied. He would be cool with going.
He'd be satisfied getting the fuck out of Nashville. I think that's what
I don't know about this. See, no, here's the thing. I've always said this about Nashville. I think people genuinely like living there. And I think that's why guys are more okay with staying there. Like we thought that Ryan O'Reilly and Stamkos in particular would be gone by now.
Sure.
All the rumors. But Friedman dropped it and said they're not so keen on just leaving.
Sure.
And that tells you something. But I think going back to what I was saying, I don't think that I think you do have to have that conversation at some point with Huberdeau. And I think that it's going to come to a point one way or the other where they're going to come to a crossroads. And either we continue with this relationship because it's good and you're being productive, or you got to have that hard conversation of being like, all right, look, you're not performing. We got.
I don't think they would have a problem buying him out. I would kind of put the pressure on and say, we don't have a problem.
But in 2 years, I'm not talking about I think buying him out now would be much more difficult.
Sure. Yeah. No, you wouldn't buy him. For sure. It's been done before, and Minnesota's clearly been able to turn it around, no problem. Christ, if they're able to do it, why can't we? Right?
Why can't any team do it? Right.
Why can't any of the goddamn teams do it? So I think that they can absolutely do it. And it would more or less put the pressure back on him saying, listen, I don't want to buy you out of this contract, but I will. Right? You want to spend the next 3-4 years not making the money that you could have? Open up that modified no trade clause because they don't have a problem buying him out with the way the cap's going up. No issues there.
No.
And at that point, it's I don't even care about the relationship at this point. Business is business, man. The ROI is not meeting expectations here. So anyway, okay. I want to play a clip from Mr. Elliot Freeman. This was dropped, I believe, earlier this morning.
I listened to this whole thing, not for the Flames perspective, but
shout out Robert from Robert Munich, who always posts fantastic stuff from Flames Nation, reporting Elliot Freeman talking about the Flames getting a little bit more aggressive in terms of just trying to move the needle here with the Rasmus Andersson deal as the Olympics approach. So we'll take a listen to that real quick.
Only thing I would just say that I've heard new, and I kind of heard this a little bit on Sunday, is that it does seem like Calgary is getting a little bit more aggressive in trying to do something. I think it sounds like there's a desire for them to do it before the Olympics, and teams know that. Now, there's been stops and starts with this before, so I'm always careful. but there are times it seems more active than other times, and one of those times is now.
I hate how Friedman talks sometimes.
Why?
No, just because like he starts off by saying that, and then he goes, "I want to be careful with what I say," and I'm like,
But it's right
I
though.
know
It's been
he's trying not to get in trouble, and I get that. Right,
you know,
right, and no, I don't like actually hate Freeman because like he does this all the time. I just like I'm always like, oh God, man, like because I think I so badly want him to just say something, like,
but he won't.
but he won't because he can't because
Sure.
he'll lose credit, he'll lose those connections that we all need. So I get it.
Okay.
But,
So to clarify, when does the trade freeze happen before the Olympics? Do we know a date?
I'll look that up for you.
I want to say it was like February 6th or something.
It is February 4th at
4th.
3 p.m. Eastern time. FYI.
1, 2, 3.5 weeks before the freeze. So there's lots of time.
A lot of time.
I think it's a fair argument to say that a lot of teams are kind of viewing that as the part one of the trade deadline.
Yeah, this year more than any other year, I think is considered to be. We have the regular trade deadline, but then we have a de facto trade deadline.
Because then a week, after the Olympics are finished, they have 1 week before the deadline.
Yeah.
So it's weirdly like a 2-part deadline this year. Okay, so let's get back to that video there for a second. So again, this seems that Conroy and company are getting a little bit more aggressive in trying to get this done. Having said that, I think we know, and I think at this point, Conroy and Anderson, I would have to assume, have come to an understanding that it's time to move on, right?
Yeah, and I don't think there's any hard feelings either. By the way, I think it's a general understanding within the room that like this has to end. So
yeah, it's getting like it's been dragged on so long that I'm getting tired of talking about it. It's like, are we doing this or not? You know?
Yeah.
So clearly getting more aggressive with it. And I did want to find Anderson's contract situation because I can't remember what's on his deal in terms of like the trade list and all that.
I'll bring it up for you. I got you.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, again, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so again, for people just understand, he has a $4.5 million cap hit, which I think is probably less now. I think now that we're at this point in the year. I don't remember exactly how that is in terms of and he has a 6-team no trade list. 6.
Okay. So it's still pretty big, right? And it's funny, like it's actually kind of a saving grace that he's been having a good year so far. Because guys are gonna love getting that, right? So I wanted to instead, now that I'm thinking about it here, if we pull up the standings, right? Clearly there's gonna be teams that are gonna be buyers to this. The one team that I keep hearing about that would be interested, and I actually wouldn't hate this fit, is the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, I heard about them.
The Red Wings seem like a very enticing. I would be very interested. I wouldn't hate that actually.
Look at their prospect pool.
Their prospect pool is so good. I think it starts. I like the name Nate Danielson in Detroit. I don't know. I think looking at the prospects pool there for Detroit, I think he's the one name that I can think of that probably makes the most sense. Unless you can think of one.
I'd have to look. I'd have to double check their prospect pool. I will say this. I want to, at some point, when you think it's appropriate, I want to add another name that's now being talked about. Not
on Calgary?
Okay. No, but in the world of defensemen,
is it Dougie Hamilton?
Yeah, that was.
I was going to bring that up later on.
Sure, we could bring that up later. That's not.
Yeah, I have it ready. I have it ready.
Because I would just say I think it's important, whether people realize it or not. I think it's important now that he's there.
Sure.
And that again, this morning we were told that the Red Wings are also interested in Dougie Hamilton as well.
Be interesting is like that's something you haven't thought about either with the Devils. If they manage to move out Dougie, it's not like we've had trade conversations before, and maybe they think about bringing Anderson in for clearly a lower cap hit than what Dougie's making, right? Anyway, we'll talk about Dougie in a little bit though. But
the one guy that I really like, I'm stuck between two, but I think it's unlikely that one of them would get moved. I think one of them could. I really like Carter Bear, honestly. I do.
Yep.
But I just think that because unless Anderson goes as a sign and trade,
sure,
I don't think the Red Wings would be keen on like moving him for a rental. The other guy that I think I would say more likely that I would also be content with is Michael Brandsegard from Norway, the Norway kid.
I can see that.
He's 6 again for people that just want to know. He's 6'1", 207 pounds, and here's a really fun fact for you, Kyle, in case you didn't know. He's the first Norwegian player to be drafted in the first round of the NHL draft.
Mm-hmm.
Plays in the SHL currently.
Bro, if they can get Carter Bear, that would be crazy. But I think it would start. I would. Yeah. The thing is with Nate Danielson that I bring up is that he's a right shot centerman, 6'2".
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's what ultimately they're going to need at the end of the day here is centerman depth, right?
He has played a little bit in the league already.
So he's been playing with Grand Rapids, 71 games last year with Grand Rapids, where he had 12 goals and 27 assists in 39 games. So, again, he's one of the guys too that has like a kind of a 200-foot game. Thinking about like what Anderson could have gone for, and now, like, I would definitely look at exploring at that if you can get like a Nate Danielson, and depending on the draft pick, like that wouldn't be a terrible idea. Like I don't hate that, and I think it would be a good trade partner there. I think the Red Wings would absolutely explore that idea. And then you look at other defensemen here, like, I don't think Montreal would be interested, Noah Dobson and stuff. And I think if you're Calgary, you kind of want him out of the conference for the year. Just
right.
Go, right? Like, unless it works out well in the West, who knows? But ultimately right now, like, I'm looking at Detroit. I would maybe sniff the Islanders and see if they have something to play with there. Carolina, I think is.
I just don't think the Islanders are ready yet to make. If they make a move, honestly, Kyle, they're going to sell somebody.
Sure.
Because I think really they just want to see how the rest of the year plays out because they've already exceeded expectations this season.
You bet. I think I think right now there's two teams though I'm truly looking at here. I like Detroit, but I also think Dallas is still going to be a big player here because I think they have to kind of make a move with knowing what Minnesota did in Colorado. I think they're going to be kind of hanging around a little bit. So, aggressive talks continue to go up, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens here in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? Maybe this week too.
Couple of the teams that I've heard that are dipping their toes in the defensive market. There's like 6 that I've heard. So you have Anaheim. Sort of. Toronto, not a surprise considering.
Sure.
Vegas, also not a surprise. Detroit, like you mentioned. Utah, kind of weird, but Utah and then San Jose. And I think that
the problem with that is like with Utah and San Jose,
it's want to trade him to the West if they can avoid it. I mean, if
they wouldn't trade. I don't know. I think it would have if it were to be like a San Jose, it would have to be really enticing. You know what I mean?
You'd have to ask for like Michael Misa, especially if you're going to keep.
Oh God, that's too much. Way too much.
Oh, okay. So now it's too much. All right. Well,
but I'm just saying, like,
if it's sign and trade, Kyle. I'm just saying, like.
Sign and trade, 100%. Yeah, we're talking.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, I think, if you think that Anderson would want to sign long term to X, Y, and Z team, then I could see you asking the price. But if it's just like he gets traded there as a rental for the rest of the year, then your options are more. I think your options are more limited. So
speaking of options being limited, the Flames actually were very fortunate that Blake Coleman was only out day to day after he did suffer an injury. I believe it was against Pittsburgh on Saturday.
Game. Yep.
Ryan Pike just writing it, I believe it was 2 days ago after it happened. Only dealt with an upper body injury. Again, it's only a day-to-day, so he's only missing maybe the 1 or 2 games here. He played one more shift after kind of getting that hit, and very fortunate enough that Mr. Coleman is going to be all right here. But more importantly, I mean, in terms of an asset that you want to trade, like that could have been so scary where he could have been out weeks and all of a sudden his value decreases. So that's something I think Flames fans are worrying about here. Is that something you'd be concerned about too?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when he went down, you're thinking immediately like, and it sucks because when you're a team in this position, you're thinking more like, oh crap, well, his value is definitely going to go down. But the fact that it's day to day, and it doesn't sound like from what we've heard it's anything severe. That's a good thing. But that's a warning sign, Kyle. I honestly think like
A
from the
warning
hockey
shot.
gods,
Yep.
that's a warning shot of like, you got to get something done soon, or
That's a
something
sign. That's got to be a
right.
sign.
It's
right?
a sign
Like,
from the hockey gods, like, dude, you got to do something soon. You got to make
Yeah.
it happen. And if you
Yeah.
got to be the first team that makes a move, be the first team that makes a move. Set the market.
It shouldn't matter. Like, you know what I mean?
It shouldn't matter, dude. Like, there are
shouldn't.
teams out there that will take Blake Coleman if you talk to them. It
Sure.
can be done. So you got to be careful here because otherwise you could be in deep trouble.
And like, I don't know if we really entered the season thinking about moving him. But because he's been like the best player on the team, for God's sakes. And like he's gonna be a huge asset to somebody else. So well, I mean, come on, for the team that we're looking at here, he's definitely been one of the better players, right? Which is crazy to say. Okay, so yeah, we'll end up seeing kind of he'll be day to day, so he'll be able to come back this week at some point. The Flames continue their road trip, by the way, tomorrow night. They're going to be in Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side here with more fun news to talk about. Every yard, every sack, every interception, and every touchdown with Pick 6, it's DraftKings' newest game. Every snap can turn into a big-time payout. This isn't just watching the game. This is playing to win. Here's how it works. Pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The better your picks, the better your payout. It's that simple. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers can get $50 in Pick 6 credits and with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. You know the game. Now make it pay. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN if you play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. You make the call, ride the upsides in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Okay. So I wanted to touch upon kind of a wild story that we saw late last week, and it's kind of been lingering into a bit as we start off here on Monday, and it pertains to the Ottawa Senators. So let's take steps here for a second, and we go back to it all started with Linus Ullmark, who left for personal reasons. And I think it's fair to say that we don't want to come on here and hypothesize about things that can happen, right? It's his life. He left for personal reasons. Things have happened. And I don't think there should be any speculation, regardless if it's him or if it's somebody else. I just think it needs to be left alone. You have to give that kind of respect. So anyway, we learn whether, again, this is all hypothetical, right? You have to take it with a grain of salt because, it's still, there's nothing to deny the claim.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. There's nothing to also confirm it. So there was the report that came out that apparently somebody within Linus Ullmark's circle has been saying that he's been cheating on his wife, and there were players on the road as well too, a part of the team that were cheating as well. And essentially what this person did is threw them under the bus. That is a massive speculation, right?
Yeah.
Which frankly really shouldn't be out there in the first place. Whether it's true or not, I think it should just be left under wrap. Like, this is clearly a personal issue and it should be left alone, right? It's none of our business. So it took a really ugly turn. And I think this was also kind of the first time that we saw a public statement made here by Steve Staios here, the general manager for the Senators. And he came out and just ripped the community apart, right? Saying, like, I mean, if you have the statement, great. I don't have it up on me here, but
I'll bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, it was, it was funny. Like, I think a lot of people kind of felt the same way where we didn't really know what was going on until that statement was made, and then all of a sudden it was just kind of like, oh, okay. And then you dive like, why did they have to make the statement? And then you dived in a bit deeper and you went, oh, this is why. So
I have the statement. Would you like? I can read it if
go for it.
You're sure. So he goes, our organization was extremely disappointed to read the completely fabricated and false stories that are spreading around social media about our hockey club. Linus is away from our team for personal reasons, and he has the entire organization's support. We ask that people respect his privacy, but clearly that request was not heard by the lowest forms of trolls and sick people who scour the internet. We are disgusted that outside forces are attempting to disrupt our hockey club. This statement will put an end to the ridiculous speculation that has spread online. I don't think I've ever seen someone of a power like that go after and call out people on social media.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time, Kyle, and I think you would agree, a lot of the time when we hear a story like this, it's usually broken by a reporter, something.
There's insider info.
There's inside.
Right?
Who's
an analyst
from TSN? He dropped the Blackhawks scandal. What was his name? I'm blank. It starts with a W. What is his last name? I can see him clearly. He's got Westberg. No, that's not his name. Westfield.
Right. Rick Westhead?
Yeah. So like when stuff like this happens, I usually expect like Westhead to do so. He hasn't said a word about it, obviously.
Sure. I feel like I'm
this seems very much like some BS. That's the sense I get from this whole thing.
Yeah,
I think someone even asked Brady.
Listen. If it smells like shit and it looks like shit, it's probably shit.
Probably shit. Right. Exactly. But it's just wild. And to put out a statement.
You're going to bring up by Brady Tkachuk. My bad. Yeah.
Right. And Brady Tkachuk was asked about it, and he said it was, quote, effing BS. That's what he said. That was his words. Sure. It kind of feels like somebody's trying to kick the Senators while they're down. They've obviously had a pretty difficult season, to say the least, and things have not been going well for them, particularly of late. If this is completely fabricated, whoever started this should be 1,000% ashamed of themselves, because we don't know what the reason is behind why Linus left for personal reasons. It could be a family member that passed away. It could be as simple as that. It could be for something completely different. But it just...
Here's the problem. Here's the issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're feeding the fire by putting out that statement.
That's true.
Right? You're feeding them. This is exactly what they want. Right? And listen, social media can be used for a whole lot of good. But 9 times out of 10, it's pretty ugly from what we've witnessed over, however many years, right? And it's just a battle that you're never going to win, because there's people like that out there consistently, and they will consistently live on there forever. Mm-hmm. And the best thing really that Staios and company should have done is simply to just ignore it. And if any report, and that's the thing, it would then be on the reporters, right, to go look at that and then ask the question, right?
Sure.
That would be on the reporters, to be like, why am I doing this, right? There's clearly nothing from this, right? Unless you're getting from a reliable source. Those guys are not, those trolls that they speak to are not reliable sources, right? And I think that's just kind of the sad thing in all this. It's like Steve Staios, for one, should have never done that. You didn't need to put a statement out, Like, and if you want to look at that, listen, you want to look at it like defending your players, fine, but maybe do it in person by defending your players, saying, don't listen to this shit, guys. Right? And guess what?
And I think there's a chance he probably did that anyway.
And whatever Allmark's problem is, fucking deal with it. It's his problem. Let him deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about it. Let him deal with it. And if something like that comes to light and it is true, they're gonna fucking deal with it. So let them deal with it. It's not your it's not your problem. It's not my problem that we need to be invested into it.
Sure. Like, hockey players already have enough to deal with on a day-to-day basis. The last thing that they need is some outside distraction that has nothing to do with what they're
Some outside
you know,
asshole.
yeah. And it's
Right.
just, and I could look, I like to do a positive spin on this. Maybe it's the kind of thing that rallies the whole team together as a cohesive unit and
Sure.
turns the season around for them. But at the same time, like this is,
So
then
speaking
right
on
there.
that and speaking about the team, because of that, more or less it has to do with Allmark's absence. Whatever he's dealing with, he's going to deal with. And they go out and sign James Reimer to a one-way contract. So he's going to be
I didn't
coming up
realize he
here.
was still available.
Well, you know what's funny is he played recently for Canada in the Spangler Cup, and he didn't look all that great.
Let me translate for everybody. Kyle's trying to say very politely he was trash.
He was pretty trash.
He was pretty trash.
So again, he's probably going to serve as like a maybe backup, secondary.
He's the emergency backup.
But you know what I think about though, Neil? This is why you have backups in the league, right? This is why you extend maybe a guy like Devin Cooley, like we mentioned beforehand and talked about, right? Because then you don't end up in situations like this, right?
Sure.
It's always important to have a bit more of a deep goaltender pool because shit happens, right?
You can never have too many goalies in your system, I think is the way that I try to operate.
You got it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll move on though, and we'll talk about what we brought up earlier. I wanted your take though, because it happened last week, and you know where I'm going with this. Devils suffering a pretty bad loss last week to the New York Islanders. First of all,
was there for it.
Two-parter here.
Yep.
Number one, I wanted to know where your head was at after the game. And number two, with all of a little bit off topic here from the score of the game, a lot of the rumors now that have been going around on a big ticket item like Dougie Hamilton, who was healthy scratched for business related purposes, is now going to be on the market with a guy like Rasmus Anderson. So I wanted to know from your Devils perspective where you're at.
I'll also say, just kind of like a self plug, I already posted a new episode of Devil's State of Mind earlier this afternoon, talking about it as well. So go check that out if you haven't already. So again, I was at the 9-0 belt to ass.
You were there?
I was there I was in person for belt to ass. Yes. I'd never been to UBS, so I just wanted to check it out for myself. And obviously the Devils were playing. And so, yeah, I have come to the same conclusion that a lot of people have come with in Devils world. This Devils team is completely broken. There is no quick fix to fixing the issues that this organization has. You have a general manager who has done this for several years where he just lets the team bottom out, doesn't do a whole lot to help them, and then uses injuries as an excuse as to why he couldn't or why he didn't make moves. And no matter what they have said, it hasn't worked. If you think about just last week, Kyle, you lost to the Hurricanes in the boo gate, as people call it now, with Luke Hughes getting booed a lot. You respond to that with losing 9-0. Jacob Markstrom having the worst statistical goaltending performance in NHL history, mind you.
To be fair, they should not have let him in that long.
They should not have. I was surprised as anybody that
you destroyed his confidence.
I was surprised as anybody that he was left in that long. I think Sheldon Keefe was making a point, not to Markstrom. I think he was making a point to Tom Fitzgerald, the general manager. Weird time to do it, but still, like that's what I think was going on. Nico Hischier then says after the game, I expect myself and the team to have a response. Your response was getting your ass handed to you 4-1 to Pittsburgh. Then you go and Sheldon Keefe says two very, very damning things, Kyle. And I will repeat to you exactly what he said. One was he said, I know what this team needs. I know what they're craving. I know what's going on. Number two, he said, and I quote, we have a lot of work to do to become a real hockey team.
Mhm.
This is an NHL franchise, by the way. This is an NHL coach that's saying that. And you follow that one up with playing the last place Winnipeg Jets, and you lose that one too. And now in about 5 hours, no, sorry, 6, excuse me, you play Quinn Hughes and the Minnesota Wild. This is going to be fun. I don't know
Jeez.
how bad it's going to get. It's going to get bad. Or because this is what the Devils do, they come out with their best performance and somehow win the game and confuse everybody.
Sure.
The bottom line to this part, Kyle, is this. The Devils' problems run much deeper than lacking X, Y, or Z. An organization that is content with being where it is and not making
Right.
any changes. We just heard today, Elliot Freeman, same 32 thoughts that we heard earlier today with the Flames, is that if anything changes, it won't happen till after the season. So why should myself or anybody in Devil's World really expect anything different to happen?
Sure.
And that leads me to with Dougie Hamilton. I will just start by saying this to you real quick, Kyle, and this goes for every player. Any player that has a no trade or no move clause, I will never get on them for exercising their right to not go to X, Y, or Z. That includes Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to go to whatever team,
16 no trade.
16 no trade clause, that's his choice. And the same thing goes with Dougie Hamilton as well. But after what just happened with Dougie getting benched, understandably, he hasn't been playing. Kyle, he has 1 goal in the last month. Like, it's not like he's been playing at a superstar level.
Sure.
But to do that, and then an hour later, Pierre LeBrun, great job by him, contacting JP Barry, the representative of Dougie Hamilton, and then being able to get a response from Tom Fitzgerald, who, by the way, has declined 5 different requests to speak to the local media, but has no problem talking to Pierre LeBrun at a moment's notice. Tom Fitzgerald is lying when he says this was a lineup decision. No, it's
bullshit.
not.
Yeah.
You want Dougie gone. You want his contract gone. So you're going to bench him until you can trade him. You're basically telling him, figure out your no trade clause so I can deal you. And the last thing is this. There was 4 different trades that Dougie has vetoed. 4, including one that would have sent him to San Jose last year. Which, by the way, I wonder now what he thinks about San Jose. The only thing, though, is this. High tax state, that is kind of a factor in all of this.
Yeah.
But this didn't have to come to this point. This could have been resolved in the offseason. But you didn't choose. You just weren't strong enough to actually make something happen. So
I think about with him specifically, he's bounced around a lot of teams,
Isn't that concerning to anybody?
Carolina, Calgary,
Boston.
Boston.
You had it. It was Boston, Calgary, Carolina, and now New Jersey.
He's bounced around quite a bit, right?
Sure.
And generally when that happens, it's not a great sign initially, right? There's some cases where guys need fresh starts, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when it's happened on a lot of occurrences throughout your career, it's pretty damning. And you mentioned earlier, like him having the 1 goal.
Yeah.
I don't even view it like on a stats perspective. I view it as a defensive breakdown where, like you mentioned, like, you follow up the 9-0 slaughtering to losing 4-1 to Pittsburgh, right? You lose, 4-3 to the last place Jets. They've lost to Carolina. By the way, their schedule coming up here after tonight against Minnesota, they get the Kraken at home, right? Middle of the club 500 team.
Kyle, I actually think you should try to watch that game because I think you want to hear what the especially if they don't win tonight, I think you're going to want to hear what the fans have to say.
Oh, I'll watch a game. Because after the Kraken and the Hurricanes, they come to Calgary.
Whoopee. And by the way, Kyle, next week, I'll be in Vancouver and Seattle for the back half of that road trip.
Monday, January 19th, the Devils will be on the road in Calgary. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens, man.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see if he can figure out his business situation and all that.
I will say this, Kyle.
Yeah.
Dougie Hamilton has played his last game in New Jersey. I'll be
Feels
very
like
honest with you. It doesn't feel like it is. So, like, that's just there is no way that he can come back in the lineup.
Sure.
Like, he can't. And one thing, lastly, I'll just say this. I know because I'm saying a lot here, but
it's okay.
I believe this with my whole heart. The Quinn Hughes trade, or lack thereof, screwed up this entire organization. Fitzgerald fumbling what should have been an easy trade in a normal circumstance rocked this whole team.
Sure.
They know that nothing's coming. They're not getting any better. There are guys in this team that are not doing enough and not producing and they're fully healthy for the most part, and they lost yesterday. This is not Sheldon Keefe's fault, because now we just learned, Kyle, that guess what? Tom Fitzgerald is telling Sheldon Keefe what system to run. What the hell is going on?
Why don't you let Keefe run it? Because he's the guy. Right?
Why don't you let him run the same system he ran at Toronto that was top 5 in goals for 5 years?
Bingo. I think though, like with the fumbling of the Hughes trade, whatever though, like I don't really think though, like the Devils fumbled it too much. Look at the offer that Minnesota gave him though. Look what they would have had to give up to get him.
But what you're not getting, Kyle, and I'm going to push back.
But I understand what you're talking about.
I'm going to just push back on this real quick.
Okay.
If they had the cap space, that trade would have been done days before Minnesota even could jump in.
Sure.
Minnesota wouldn't have even been able to jump in. The reason that Minnesota had the better offers because they just had more time to get it done. And yeah, they did have the assets, and they had more attractive assets than the Devils did. But the fact that the Devils were trying to move pieces for weeks, couldn't do it, gave Minnesota the time to get in and make the move. That's
so
why
they had to move cap space.
Yes,
exactly. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. And so here's my question though. That even let's say they made cap space room, right? Let's say they did it 3 months ago, right?
Sure.
And all this shit started coming, or whatever. Whenever the shit started coming out about Quinn, and they decided that they wanted to make said move, and they created cap space, right? Okay, so they go ahead and they create some cap space, however they do so, and they get enough. I'm not so convinced that Vancouver would have liked the Devils' offer more than what the Wild gave them.
I agree with that.
Okay, because
if the Devils had the space, but then both Minnesota and New Jersey had offers, I still think Vancouver takes Minnesota's offer. And
I agree.
That's a fumbling by Tom Fitzgerald in that way, because guess what, Kyle? You could have had Marco Rossi. Instead, you drafted Alex Holtz, and he's not even on the team anymore.
Right.
You could have had Z Byam. Nope. Don't have him either. You could have had those assets if you drafted and developed correctly, but you didn't. And so then you lose out again anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point. And the fact, like, Quinn Hughes' bags were basically in Jack's apartment, like fully expecting him to be in New Jersey against the Canucks in the first game, and it didn't happen, shocked everybody. Because the other thing is that guys in that locker room are waiting for someone to go.
Right.
Then nothing happens, and now you're in this very awkward situation, and this team is free-falled, and your GM is sitting on his hands doing literally nothing.
It's tough though too, because outside of all the Hughes stuff that happened, like you mentioned earlier, pertains to Calgary as well. It's such a seller's market, right? Like, could you turn around and you deal with the whole Doug? And I bring up the Dougie situation because I think it does show a reflection here for Calgary, it being the Calgary Flame show, believe it or not. Like, it does show a reflection in the sense that if you deal with the Dougie news, would it even bother helping by bringing a guy like Anderson in to help a little. You just mentioned like, hey, you're not finding defensive scoring there. Well, Anderson might be that missing piece all of a sudden.
Sure. Yeah. Like, and I think that just at the end of the day, really what the Devils are trying to do more than anything is they're just trying to sell. I don't think that I think that they want to sell and try to get some try to get cap space to maybe make a move. But other than that, I think it's just selling because this is a disaster.
You bet.
And I think
They
Dougie doesn't want to be here anymore either. So
they did release an article about the 3 teams that could be interested in acquiring him on the Score. I personally really like the Score. I haven't even looked at the article yet, but it was the first thing that popped up in our top news, especially.
I had the same notification. Yep.
So funny enough, you bring up the San Jose Sharks, who I guess they had, like you mentioned, something in play last year. The Nashville Predators, interesting. They have $11.9 million cap space and provide an easy fit for Hamilton. Rebuild could be inevitable, though, as they try to potentially make a push here.
Yeah.
And Calgary? What? A second stint in Calgary. Even though Hamilton enjoyed 3 strong seasons with the Flames from 2015 to 2018, it would be understandable if he vetoed a move there. The club's chances of being competitive in the next few years are low, thanks. And Calgary's harsh winters aren't overly inviting. You're clearly not a Canadian.
So why are they an option? They put nothing positive in that.
So, but then they go, but the Flames should absolutely welcome reunion if they can get Hamilton on board. They need to weaponize their $18 million in cap space to help collect prospects and draft picks to advance their rebuild. The Flames could theoretically turn Hamilton to another pick. That sounds like so much dumb work. If you clearly don't, so you're going to acquire the guy only to get rid of him again. I don't get it.
What? Like, I guess, okay.
There will be minutes for Hamilton on the right side. Yeah, that's stupid.
The only argument I can make there is that, like, maybe the Flames would ask for a pick. Like, first of all, I think that
I don't get it.
I think wherever Dougie Hamilton goes, Kyle, regardless, I think something other than just Dougie is going the other way. Because I think that there is some retention. Even though the Flames have the money to do it, like just take out his full contract. I'll be honest with you, Kyle. To some extent, that feels like a lateral move after moving Anderson. Like, I don't really understand exactly why would you trade Anderson, who is 3 years younger? And I get it. His contract's going to be big, but why would you do that and replace him essentially with a 32-year-old Dougie Hamilton who's coming off a pec injury and is not the same player offensively?
Yeah. Like,
oh, by the way, he didn't want to be in Calgary the first time.
Right. So why are you bringing him back? You're going to give away stuff, and then you're going to lose him for his value going down more. I don't get it.
I think it's San Jose or Detroit, Kyle. I will tell you that right now.
Sure, and San Jose makes sense, yeah.
Well, but the reason I brought up Detroit before when we were talking about Anderson and Dougie is that there might be a better deal in place for the Red Wings to get Dougie because they may not have to give up as much over Anderson. That's the only reason. I get it. Younger, all that stuff. But then you think about his next contract. You think about what assets you would have to give up, this and the other thing. So I would just say to Flames fans as well, just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Just keep that in
mind. No kidding. So we got a very interesting next couple of weeks coming up here.
Yeah, we do.
For the team and personally as well, too. The next few months, whatever it may be.
Yeah. I didn't listen to the last episode. You know why.
Yeah. So we got it's funny, we'll preview on Monday next week because the Devils will be in Calgary on Monday night next week. So we'll be able to preview that. That'll be fun. And then Neil's gonna be on his trip there out to Vancouver. So that should be a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy.
I'm having second thoughts.
Just enjoy the sceneries, man. That's all
I'll just enjoy seeing Dylan, and that'll be it.
And don't go down East Hastings Street in Vancouver.
Noted.
Yeah, don't do it. It's
okay.
Crack central of the world.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty bad.
Nice.
Anyway, so Flames play tomorrow night, guys. It'll be Tuesday. They're going to be in Columbus. Dustin Wolf expected to start. We'll continue to watch the ramp-up ramifications of any trade news that could happen with Anderson or Coleman as the week progresses. Who knows? It might be very aggressive going further. If anything happens, we'll obviously be on standby for any news that will go down. So, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. I don't know if there's any other news that we needed to kind of look at. again, just again, very quickly talked about Dougie Hamilton, Senators there who did sign Reimer to a 1-year deal. Avalanche still look disgusting as always.
Yep.
No, I think we kind of covered it, so that's good. Good stuff as always, man.
Likewise.
Last question.
Oh God.
Seahawks or Niners this weekend? What's the prediction?
Oh, yeah, I knew you were going to bring this up. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think that with them being at home and their defense, I think that it's going to be low scoring, but I think they're going to win that game. So I'm going to go with Seahawks in that one.
What's the score?
I'm going to say 24-13.
Ooh.
So,
yeah, I'm rolling with my Seahawks too. I think slow start. I'm going to say, God, there's been weird scores this weekend too.
Yeah, it's hard to predict.
I'm going to say like 25 to 17.
Seahawks going for 2 at some point?
So yeah, they go for 2 and they miss a 2-point conversion, maybe miss an extra point, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
25-17, I'll say. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Go Hawks. There we go. All right. Good stuff as always. And we will see you next Monday as we'll preview that fun little matchup there between the Flames and the Devils. Catch you all next week. Hope everybody has a good week, and we'll talk to you then. Later,
guys.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.